The House set to try to elect a speaker again today after 2 days of failed attempts. It's the first time in 100 years the speaker wasn't elected in the first vote. Now, after 6 failed votes, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has a new offer for his detractors. Sources tell ABC News McCarthy has proposed changing the House rules so that just one lawmaker could force a vote to remove the speaker, putting more conservatives on the powerful House Rules Committee, and a vote on bills like term limits and border security. But it's unclear if that will all be enough. ABC News political director Rick Klein joins me live now, along with ABC's Jay O'Brien, who's on Capitol Hill for more on this. Rick, Kevin McCarthy is trying to appease his detractors here, but he risks alienating his supporters in the process. So how much of a fine line does he have to walk here?
Well, Diana, it looks like he's already crossed the line that he drew for himself with some of these concessions. He knows that everything that he gives to that side not only potentially alienates some people that he's counting on to continue to support him, but maybe more importantly, makes that job as Speaker less and less tenable, less and less possible for anyone to do. It's not just a matter of, I don't want to give in to these people. The reason that he has held firm on the motion to vacate, the way to replace a Speaker, is that he recognizes that if any one member can call for your head to be put on a platter, they might do it. And that means you have almost no wiggle room, no negotiating room, no leverage. As one Democrat put it, it's like they'll have a spokesperson, but not an actual speaker in the House. So he has to be worried about the math. He also has to be worried about what this means functionally for the job he still wants so badly.
Rick, could any of his supporters, the people who have stood by him through all of this, turn around and say, well, what about us? You know, here we are standing by you, and yet you're giving in to demands and arguably preferential treatment to those who didn't.
Kevin McCarthy has to watch his back, because this is the moment where someone close to him could decide to essentially knife him politically. And this is the moment where someone like a Steve Scalise could say, hey, guys, you know, I'm not going to give in to those folks the same way, and I think I can lead the banner. Is it likely to happen? I think not. I think he's got more problems with the 20 holdouts than he does with the stalwarts that are behind him. But there's a lot of anger right now among some of those moderate, more establishment-minded Republicans. They don't want to negotiate with what they feel like on the other side they've been calling legislative terrorists, people that say they have no viable solution of their own. All they're doing is trying to sink the man that has been already elected as the House Republican leader.
Now, Jay, these holdouts are set to be meeting on these proposed concessions, and incoming Congressman Warren Davidson also says they're deciding whether they'll stick together as a bloc and demand more concessions, or whether they will each vote their conscience from here. How significant is the outcome of that meeting?
Well, Diane, some of them are meeting right here in this brick building you can see right behind me. One of them, Bob Good, walked out. He stood right here, actually confronted reporters right in the middle of the street here, and he made a point to say, you never have to ask me if I'm a no on Kevin McCarthy ever again. That's what he said to me and a number of other reporters here. He said he will always be a no on Kevin McCarthy. Lauren Boebert walked out just moments ago, said the same thing, that Kevin McCarthy in her position does not have 218. I asked her how many no votes there are that are firm no votes that could not be moved by any McCarthy concessions. She didn't answer that question. Ken Buck earlier today told me that he believes there are 6 firm never McCarthy no votes, that despite what Kevin McCarthy does, he will never earn their vote. These are people that will not vote no, they'll vote for someone else other than Kevin McCarthy. The protest votes against Kevin McCarthy so far have been for Byron Donalds and Jim Jordan. Ken Buck says there are 6 who will never move into McCarthy's column. He believes they could vote present, which would lower the threshold that McCarthy needs to become the next speaker. But a lot of these anti-McCarthy votes, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, have said that they will never vote present, that they will oppose Kevin McCarthy. Lauren Boebert, again, walking out here saying that McCarthy does not have 218 votes. She said the same thing when she was confronted last night on Fox News by Sean Hannity. So you're seeing pressure against these never McCarthy Republicans to bend and to break, but so far they are saying that they will stick together. They will oppose Kevin McCarthy tooth and nail, Diane. If we go to a vote at noon today, we will see if the proof is in the pudding. We will see if they band together and still vote to deny McCarthy his speakership after 3 days of this so far.
So, Rick, do the math on that. You know, if they stand by what they are saying, some of them may vote present, some of them no, but they're not a yes. I mean, can McCarthy pull this off?
Well, the one problem is that those present votes, to think through the math of this, voting present, each vote only basically gets you half as much as a vote in favor of you, because you're lowering the threshold, and the Democratic candidate is still in the race as well. So they can't lower it that much without getting into danger where you've got those 212 Democrats that are voting together. There's only so much negotiation you have. If all of those Republicans were to suddenly vote present, then you'd have Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. So you have to make sure that you're balancing this in a very delicate way. One model might be that vote to adjourn last night. Jay and I were covering it late last night, and you could tell that they were anxious to horse trade some votes and make sure that it passed. That motion to adjourn passed with fewer than 218. It was 216 votes total. They lost a few Republicans on it. It was a strange sight, because you had a big applause for the McCarthy forces and Republicans, and when all they did was just vote to go home for the night. But that might be a model for how you can get it through, where you know that there's a couple of Republicans that might withhold their support for McCarthy, a few that might not show up, but in the end, enough to make sure that a Democrat is an elected Speaker. It would be a very high-stakes game of chicken, however.
Jay, it wouldn't be the first time that a lawmaker or lawmakers say, I'm not going to do X or I will do X, and then in the end, they change their mind. So how much nuance is going on here behind the scenes based on conversations you're having?
Well, as has been described to me, a source close to these conversations said that the word that they keep coming back to is pain resistance for this Never McCarthy group. How much pressure can they get and bend but not break and not cave and not vote for McCarthy and not vote present? There's a little bit from that you glean from a conversation I just had again moments ago with Lauren Boebert as she walked out here from this meeting behind me. Here is a little of what she had to say when I asked her if she would ever vote for Kevin McCarthy or if her fellow colleagues would. Congresswoman, do you think that...
How are you? It's a great day.
Good morning.
Is there... You know, I'm a mom of 4 boys and a previous restaurant owner. Chaos and dysfunction have been a part of my life for a long time, but this constitutional republic at work is a really, really beautiful thing.
But anything on Kevin McCarthy, there's nothing that could change your vote, just to be clear.
It doesn't really matter what my vote is at this point, because he doesn't have 218. There are too many people, who are committed to never voting for him.
How many do you think are committed to never voting for him? What's the number? Again, her point there is that he doesn't have 218, referring to Kevin McCarthy. We will see come this ballot and come subsequent ballots if that changes. But I can tell you, if this group of 5 to 6 Never McCarthy votes does stay together and every Democrat shows up and votes, that is a tough number for Kevin McCarthy to overcome. And the sense that we're getting from the lawmakers that we're talking to is that there is a core group that will not bend, they will not break, despite what Kevin McCarthy offers them. The question that hangs over this vote in just an hour from now, Diane, is how many of them are there? How many of those lawmakers don't want anything from Kevin McCarthy and just want to deny him the speakership, and how many are willing to deal with him?
It was also interesting, Jay, that in all of that, she didn't directly answer your question of whether she would, under any circumstances, vote for Kevin McCarthy. So it'll be interesting to see if any of them are leaving that door just at least cracked open as these votes play out today. Jay O'Brien, Rick Klein, thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.